David Pepper. David, I want to ask you about this concept that Tom said about issues versus values, ways in which the Democratic Party can connect to the anger and frustration and energy that's out there. Part of this is that, and maybe this is a mistake that we make in the media, we talk a lot about authoritarianism and the road to dictatorship and the retribution presidency and all that. And I do run into good thinking people who say it's not what people are worrying about. How do we address that? Because I do worry about that. I really think it's super serious that we're descending into authoritarianism, but it's different from the price of eggs or the price of cars.
Yeah, so we have to be at two different levels. Some people, that's the thing that will keep them fired up. It obviously keeps all of us fired up. But in other places, what we have to do is translate what that authoritarianism and what that gerrymandering, how it's screwing up something in their life beyond the 30,000 debate over politics. And one way to do this is to remember the reason they are gerrymandering so intensely in states like Texas and Ohio, and I'm talking here at the state house level, is because most of their agenda is deeply unpopular, and they know it. And if you had a referenda in a fair district or in the state about the issues they are pushing, they would almost always lose. And so the job is find those issues and expose them. And I put this in this book you mentioned that I just wrote. The same day that Donald Trump won Kentucky, like 2-1, an effort to put into place universal private vouchers got destroyed in Kentucky. It lost in every single county, and it did worse the more red and the smaller the county. And I went to the most Republican county in Kentucky and asked them, why do you think you guys oppose the heart of their education policy on the same day you voted for them? They're like, well, we don't want to spend our good local money on some private school 200 miles away. We love our school here, our good public school. And when you talk culture, that we've all watched for years the TV show Friday Night Lights. These are the centers of these communities. It's a perfect example where if we actually were to run in more places, we could show that the reason schools are being undermined that they care about and opportunities undermined in rural Texas or rural Ohio is not because of some made-up issue they're making up. It's because of what they're doing in these state houses. So there are many issues like this around healthcare, around education, around rising costs. I was with a woman the other day running in rural Indiana, and I said, what are you running on? And she said, public education, healthcare, Medicaid, and the fact that the state keeps increasing property taxes on all of us. These are great issues here. If we're not out there running these places, we don't even realize there are huge opportunities to pounce, and they gerrymander because they know they're vulnerable on those issues and don't want to ever face accountability for what they're doing to everyday people on issues like that.
Tom, one of the things I like talking to you about, you study the world, and when we talk about values, I had a great conversation with Bob Rice yesterday morning to say that all these things that people use to accuse Zoran Mamdani and Bernie Sanders of being socialists are normal in every other developed country, right? Daycare, universal health care, these are not radical by any means, and the rich are not being squeezed in America. The rich are not, and for 50 years have not been asked to pay more than their fair share. That's simply just not true. Trickle-down economics simply doesn't work. So part of this whole weird discussion about progressive versus moderate ignores the fact that most values that we are arguing for are just normal.
Yeah, and I think the largest frame here that you just identified, Ali, and it's a really important one, is that the thing that FDR brought in the 1930s, the thing that LBJ promoted with the Great Society, is a we society. And the things that the Republicans and the Ayn Rand libertarians and, basically the right has been promoting, since the days of Edmund Burke, Russell Kirk in 1951 writing about it in The Conservative Mind, is basically a me society, is the idea that, society should function so that the most successful predators can rise to the top, basically. And I think most Americans are very enthusiastic about a we society, about the idea. It's not that they want big government or small government. They want effective government. They want government that does things that work for them. And the Republican Party is constantly trying to stop that because, billionaires may have to pay some of the tab. And Democrats are missing a huge opportunity here, not talking about that value frame of we society versus me society.
Yeah.